bizarre secret. My wife wants another threesome with my friend. I'm emotionally destroyed. I advise you to listen to this story until the end. It's so bizarre and it will surprise you, I guarantee it. This story starts like this. I've known for a long time that when my wife was younger, she had some threesomes with her best friend and the friend's husband, then boyfriend. This was years before we met, and she told me early in our relationship so that there would be no secrets. I never had any issues with my wife being alone with her best friend, since the threesomes didn't involve much girl-on-girl action, but rather more sharing of her boyfriend. And for this reason, I've had trouble throughout our marriage being around the two of them. I just have difficulty having a normal conversation knowing that this guy had sex with my wife. My wife thinks nothing of it and is completely comfortable. It's just something she did for a while and then stopped because she didn't like it anymore after the thrill of the taboo wore off. She can even talk about it with them as casually as she talks about a show they went to. However, she doesn't do it when I'm around because she knows it makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, we were all together last weekend, and her friend got a little drunk and brought it up. My wife quickly shut her down, but the impression I got was that there had been a longer conversation leading to this, which I was unaware of. Later, my wife told me that her friend and her friend's husband had asked if she and I were interested in doing anything. They were willing to do whatever we felt comfortable with, but my wife admitted that they really wanted her again, but with me watching. My wife knows there's no way I would agree to this, and she doesn't want it either. She stopped doing this with them for a reason before she got married and had kids. My wife told me to forget they ever said anything, but how can I do that now? I swallowed being around them when these incidents happened in the past, but now that they are openly desiring my wife, I don't know if I feel comfortable with her or myself being around them. Am I wrong here? How do I navigate this? I don't want to tell my wife to end the friendship, but I feel like something needs to be done. For context, I want to add that they were together 3 times, and my wife stopped simply because she stopped enjoying it. She only participated because her friend was bragging about her boyfriend's skills in the bedroom and insisted she try it. She did and found that no skill could overcome the fact that she wasn't very attracted to him. My wife also doesn't like girls. She participated with the friend, but it was the first and last time for her. It's just not her thing. So I'm not really worried about her doing anything with them because she had many opportunities before we met and passed on them. Also, many people might criticize my wife for not telling me about the conversations, but I'm actually okay with it. She said no to both of them, and I'm not mad at her for that. I'm mad at them for basically trying to screw me over. But wait, the story isn't over. There are more updates, so I had a deeper conversation with my wife about her friends and expressed my discomfort with being around people who desire my wife and fantasize about having sex with her in front of me. She said she understood how I felt but told me there was absolutely nothing I should worry about. To my wife, her friend and husband are not serious people. They are fun to be around, but that's it. She experienced them in her early 20s, but at that time she was a different person. She was very sexually adventurous in college, and shortly after, doing many things she would never think of doing now. She said she is a 35-year-old woman, married and a mother of 2, with a serious career, and simply no longer has any interest in behaving that way. Not to mention that she has a happy marriage and loves me. Although I understand all this and trust her, I told her my point still stands. I simply don't feel comfortable around them. My wife then asks if we could talk about this with her friends, and if after that conversation I still felt uncomfortable. So I agreed, and we met them last night at our house. Both apologized and vowed never to bring up the subject again, but I could tell that neither of them considered it a big deal. And from their tone, it seemed like they thought I was being overly sensitive. So I raised this point, and they admitted they thought I was being silly. They told me that the time they spent with my wife was a very memorable experience, one they wanted to relive, and simply asked if my wife would be interested in participating with my approval. They said they would have been happy to allow me to participate in whatever way I wanted, but admitted that their biggest fantasy was basically double-teaming my wife while I watched. But my wife had no interest. I was about to say this when my wife intervened. She tells them that I'm not going to enjoy anything. She tells them she's no longer 22 and has babies sleeping upstairs. She tells them that neither of us is going to do sexual acts with anyone else, and she thought she made that clear. It got a little awkward after that, and they left soon after. My wife hugged me when they left and apologized for asking me to talk to them. It wasn't how she expected it to go. We talked a bit more, and she admitted that hearing their stories is a fun escape, and even felt flattered when they said how much they enjoyed being with her. But she admitted that it became a little too real, and she couldn't bear the idea of seeing me with someone else, and understood how I felt. So we agreed to take a long break from seeing them. My wife isn't going to completely cut her best friend out of her life, but we will manage how we see them. No more drinking, no more being alone with the two of them at their house or ours. Shopping, lunches, and similar activities are where she will maintain the friendship, and I can live with that. Well, my honest opinion on this story, it seems like your wife's best friend and her husband just see you and your wife as props for their fantasy. This is called wife poaching in swinger circles, and is a mortal sin that will get you banned from certain groups. Close communication with both partners is mandatory, and trying to twist someone into a kink is a shitty thing to do. I got curious because the other day I was talking to my ex who likes this kind of thing. She called it thruples. She describes being in one of these arrangements and will tell you how it was usually her who had to kick the other girl to the curb because they got too crazy or emo or something like that. I was trying to ask her what she really got out of it and didn't get a satisfying answer. I asked if it was a matter of power to steal other guys, and she said, "It's less boring." Oh, she also used to do this back in the day. This is home wrecking. The fact that they tried to divert the concern you had, and then doubled down by trying again, really shows they are not interested in anyone's feelings. The way your wife shut them down was exactly what you and your wife needed. It clearly showed the other couple that she's not interested, and they overstepped. Again, it's good they are taking a back seat in your life. And to finish, her friends see you as an impediment to their fun. They don't care about your feelings and believe deep down that if you weren't there or were more open, your wife would be regularly having sex with them again, so I wouldn't consider this completely settled from their point of view. Besides the boundaries you noted, I think your wife shouldn't be in the same place as the husband again. Shopping or lunch alone with the friend is fine, but she shouldn't go to the friend's house if the husband is there, and if he shows up, she needs to leave. I would also ask your wife to tell her friend, in no uncertain terms, that whether you are around or not, and whether her husband is around or not, the subject will never be mentioned again. And if it is, it will be the end of the friendship completely. The first question her friend will ask her when they are alone will be, "Come on, be honest, if your husband was willing to let you be with us again, and he just watched, would you like it?" She needs to be prepared for that question and answer by saying she wouldn't have sex with them again even if she were single. The idea of it now, as adults and with kids, is gross. She doesn't need to worry about offending the friend because clearly, she's not worried about respecting your marriage. Your wife seems fully committed to you and your marriage, and that's the most important thing. Anyway, if you like this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more bizarre stories of people's experiences around the world related to their relationships.